sometimes in life, effort doesn't give you the outcomes. And what will you do at that point? How do you come to peace with the fact that you're not going to get what you want? I'm Jasmin. I work in Ministry of Health. When people ask me, what is my job? Actually, nowadays I say my job is to be a mother. My first kid was an IVF baby. He was only born 8 years after we got married. We had been praying for a kid for many, many years. Sometimes we get so paralyzed by our own thoughts. We try to plan. We said, I want to do this and I want to do that, and I have these goals to achieve, and then feel stuck because I can't achieve that. From when we're in school, we study hard, and effort translates into outcomes. You study hard, work hard, you get good grades. You run the extra 2.4, it translates into outcomes. I think with fertility, no matter how hard you work, sometimes you don't get the child. We struggled with that. The first time we did IVF, I recall, we wanted to implant the embryo, and then the nurse said, it didn't quite work out the way we want, so you wait for the next round. And then I just broke down and cried. And the nurse was like, why are you so upset? You just try again. And later on, my reflection was because in life, it's always worked that way for me. I try hard, I put in effort, it translates into a good outcome. I think that was the biggest lesson for me. How do you handle setbacks? It's completely changed the way I look at life. And I think that for me has been the biggest lesson. At work, we encounter many such situations regularly. Being able to handle the emotional part of it has been a great lesson. So being a mother has definitely changed my leadership style. Teams I've led before, I think quite often they will describe me as a bit scary. They will say, yeah, standards are quite high, and sometimes if she were to tell you something's not so good, actually you feel a bit scared. I think also quite often people in the past would feel not so easy to share with me their real life difficulties. After I became a mother, I actually fully realized what people mean when they say they struggle outside of work. I mean, literally, childcare, picking up your kids are sick, you take MC again, you take childcare leave. And a lot of these things actually do affect people's performance at work. And so I think nowadays when I feel someone is perhaps not doing as well as they could, actually my first question to them is, how are you? Not how are you doing at work, but how are you doing in your personal life? Something must be going on in their personal lives that do affect it. And partly because I realize my personal life now completely affects how much I can bring to work on a daily basis. I used to think that bosses ought to be quite strict. Bosses ought to call out every mistake, call it out directly and frankly. And I think over time I've learned you can reach the same outcomes with a different method. In more recent years, I really learned about kindness. How do you be kind, but at the same time still have expectations about their work? For me, it's about always engaging in smaller groups. It becomes a bit more personal. But if they sat down with me one-to-one, we have a much better conversation and much better understanding. What I try to achieve is to create a culture where all teammates know they have a role to play and that they must be able to tell the captain when they don't agree with the captain's strategies. Harshness and strictness may not always work for everybody, but something a little bit more empathetic or presses the right button in the staff could actually give you a much better outcome. As a Deputy Secretary in charge of policy in the Ministry of Health, basically I make sure that the healthcare system has enough resources to function. But nowadays when people ask me what I do, my job is to bring up my 2 kids. Thanks for the chat. Thanks for the cuppa.